and he is not capable of leading the services in the temple. Therefore, you have to get a priestly person to sort of cover over for him, and that's Ezra. But unfortunately, Ezra is given the same genealogy as another person called Jesus, or in Joshua, let's call him Jesus, Ben Yehoshaphat. He's the priest who is the son of the previous high priest under the kingdom Yehoshaphat, who was the previous priest before the destruction of the first temple. So he also goes back with Zerubbabel. So there's a priestly leader and a kingly leader with Zerubbabel at first return. But we don't know what happened to those guys. But in any case, there is a priesthood that does go back. And Ezra takes that role, but Ezra in the Bible is given the same genealogy as this guy. So I think this guy existed, Ezra didn't exist. But that's too complicated for us. Let's just stick to Isaiah here. The point is we're trying to figure out who the suffering servant is. And I'm trying to tell you he may have been this Zerubbabel. He may be your Jesus Christ. If you feel that you can do that with literature, that's fine. He may be the people of Israel. We'll have to see. Of course, here, the people of Israel are the servant at this point. And they're a good servant, not a bad servant. Their time of trial is ended. They have suffered enough. They have been paid back for whatever sins and crimes that they may or may not have committed, according to the poet prophet here. Do not be afraid. I am with you. Stop being anxious. I am your God. I'm going to take care of you. I'm the one who gives strength. I give the help. I am the victorious right hand, war right hand, not supernatural, allegorical, strong right hand. I think you see that. Not for Isaiah, maybe later on. Not for Philo, of course, everything is allegorical. And I would say as well for Paul. Yes, and I think Paul, by the way, knows Philo. I think Paul, in fact, I would say Paul studied with Philo. I think he knows him because the Herodian family that Paul seems to be connected to from his greetings at the end of his letters when he says, send my regards to my kinsman, little Herod, which seems to show that he is a relative of the Herodian family. That the Herodians married into Philo's family in Alexandria. They married Philo's brother, they married Philo's nephew. They were very good marriages for the Herodian because they were extremely wealthy and they were sought after those marriages. It's all in Josephus, so that's why I would think if Paul is connected to those people, who I think he is, then he knows Philo. So that's why I would say that Paul probably had some at least understanding of Philo, if not a personal contact with him. But this is not Philo. I uphold you with my victorious right hand. All those who raged against you. This is not esoteric. This is real. Shall be put to shame and confusion. Those who fought against you, they will be destroyed. They will perish. This is tough stuff. You will seek but never find those enemies of yours. They shall be destroyed and brought to nothing, those who made war on you. You see, I'm rescuing Jacob, Israel. I, the Lord, Yahweh, am your God. I am holding you by the right hand, people Israel. Do not be afraid. I will help you. Do not be, here it is, do not be afraid. I could have said it was coming. Jacob, poor worm. Israel, puny mite. I don't know why the Jews don't read this. I don't know why it's only Christians who read this. I mean, if I were a Jewish person looking for inspiration, here it is. You want reassurance, you want comforting, you want to know whether you've been deserted by your God, read Isaiah. But who reads Isaiah? Only Christians that I know of. Which just shows how, how strange the world is. because you're seeing it now. We're reading every sentence. Who should take sustenance from this? Jews, shouldn't they? If I were a Jew, I said, God says, don't worry, don't worry. Puny mite, Jacob, Israel, poor worm, I'm going to take care of you. Well, you say, well, Professor Eisenman, why are you emphasizing this? Well, this is, after all, a literature coming out of the people in Palestine. It is a Jewish spiritual literature. If we were going to read Nazi literature, we would read Nazi literature. If we were going to read Athenian literature, we would read Athenian literature. If we were going to read Hindu literature, we would read Hindu literature. But we have to be fair. This is a Judaic literary text written towards a Judaic, Mosaic, Abrahamic audience. It didn't. I don't think they knew that people in Tahiti were going to read this material. Do not be afraid, Jacob, poor worm, Israel, I will help you. It is I, the Lord, you always speak, the Holy One of Israel, your Redeemer. The Lord is the Redeemer, not a Hellenistic, Greco-Roman man-god that is supposedly fathered by God in the Roman imperial way. No, no. The Lord is the one. He is going to do it. At least that is the basic ethos so far. See, look what I'm going to do. I turn you into a threshing sled and double the teeth to thresh and crush the mountains. Tough stuff, you see. This is like saying, I'm turning you into a tank, into a centurion or a Patton tank. You know, I'm going to give you teeth and you're going to crush your enemies. And turn the hills to chaff, you shall winnow them, and the wind will blow them away, and the gale will scatter them. But you yourself will rejoice in the Lord, and glory in the Holy One of Israel. The poor and the needy ask for water, and there is none. The tongue is parched, change gears with thirst. I, the Lord, I am going to answer them. I, the God of Israel, I will not abandon them. And that's what he's going to do, you see. And it's hard to keep the imagery because there's so many strands going on here. But the original image will be, comfort ye, your time of trial is ended. Because I think, and that's what seems to be occurring, but you can feel differently should you wish, they're going to return from exile. But you've seen the desert between Babylon and Palestine. In the first Gulf War and the second Gulf War, you know the journalists had to run that stretch of about 700–800 miles of nothing in G.